Good morning, traders. It's Trader Rob. Today is Monday, December 8th. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Got some nice, got a few rounds of golf in with my son for his 18th birthday. So, come back to Chicago tonight. But it's been nice. The 82-degree weather has been really nice. All right, so did anybody capture that setup that we took, or that I left you guys with on Friday at the 25 801.50? I was able to capture this last night. I had my take profits set at the 25 792.50. There was a big pocket of selling or buying pressure right there, so that's where I took my profits out, right smack there. So that was nice. Got on the board really well late last night. I didn't get to bed until about 12:30 after that trade. But that was a nice one. Got a nice entry. Took TP1 pretty quick. I think maybe 5-10 minutes. Remember, the night session's a little different than the morning, the New York session. We came back, we retested some volume up here, and then we slammed TP2 down here as well. So that was a nice little trade. Sorry, I'm talking a little bit on the lower side. My the kids are all still sleeping. So let's see what else we can capture here. I think you had a nice little push to the upside. How many of you guys captured that move last night? I know it was pretty late in the evening, but Steve missed it. GTO Johnny, good morning. St. Louis Day Trader, good morning. Michael, good morning. All right, so the ES is still looking pretty damn ugly. I have not been able to find a setup on the ES for what seems to be like a week of trading. This has just been very tight, even though you've got a small down move. Look at these wicks. There's really not much as far as like impulsive move besides this one. There's a nice little reversal there. So we'll see if we get some decent price action here this morning and can get another good A+ setup here. Now on the ES, I would need it to, for me to start really looking at trades, I need it to break at least the 68.35s. And that's a ways away, man. 68.35 right down here. That's where I would kind of need to see some break of structure. Even on the 5-minute, we just had a 5-minute level produce right here, but that was right off the open. I don't really put that much emphasis on just the open move. But if we can continue to the downside, then I might be interested. As far as the NQ, I think the only I got something here I got to map out. We've got the 25 257 still down here. We would obviously need to see a pretty strong pullback to get down to there. TP1 at the 25 265 and the 25 271 with a stop at the 25 248. Nordic, good morning. Tomorrow is the last day for Apex's 60% off sale. Caveat to that promotion is that they are offering $6 PA fees, which brings your all-in price on a funded account to about $84. I was kind of doing the math last night. It's pretty similar to what they were running before. The 50Ks I think cost me $39 when they were running the 70% off. And then you add the 40 for the PA. It's about $80, so good morning, Chum Sauce. And on the ES, the only setup that we already have kind of mapped out is sitting at the 67, 6350, targeting the 67, 66, and then the 67, 6950, with a stop at the 67, 58. We'll say I don't trade a lot in the evening session, but when you take a trade in the evening session, you get in the green, and it really makes you feel really nice for the morning session. I almost feel like you got a built-in buffer, but I'd like to be able to build on that buffer. So the golf was a little rough this weekend. None of our games were on. I think for the so I brought down my son. It was his 18th birthday on Saturday, and he brought two of his friends. And I think this is the first time they've played like some real courses. And it was funny because we played this course in Hollywood. That on the 17th hole, we were looking at the scorecard. On the front page of the scorecard, it said it's Florida's longest golf course on record. And we looked at our scores and we're like, yep, that sounds about right. It was tough, but we had a lot of fun. We ended up doing the three of them scrambling versus me in the last like 5-6 holes, which was that was pretty fun. Had a good time. Well, again, not the best price action here early this morning. No high impact news today. Obviously, we got a FOMC this week. And then tomorrow... Tomorrow we got U.S. JOLTS job openings at 9 a.m. Central Time. Yeah, Nordic. We took a trade last night. Actually, right before I went to bed. It was that setup that that we had mapped out on the NQ. It's also a signal that hit TP1 and TP2. I think I got maybe 8.5 to 9 points on that. This was the setup. So it was a short at the 25.801. We tapped in, we hit TP1, retested, and then swept TP2 as well. That's true, man. It's a doggy dog world out there. But besides the golf and some pretty good meals, most thing I'm excited about is the Cuban coffee down here. Drinking that like crazy. Alright, so NQ did leave an unbalanced area, but it is that's kind of that morning move that I'm not super thrilled about. You know, their area that they left completely unbalanced is up here. But that was pretty much right at the 831 candle. And that could be very sweepy. Very sweepy up here. So that's not something I'm interested in. We'll see. We'll stay patient. Morning, Milan. Morning, Scott Weber. So it's 60% off recurring. So after, if you don't pass within the 30 days, it's 60% off the recurring fee. So it would probably be that depending on your size. I don't know if it even mattered on the size. Yeah, any size eval. $78 is what your recurring should be, because it's 60, 60, 60. 60% off all evals, 60% off first month, 60% off a recurring. It's the $6 lifetime PA fee. I'll be right back. I missed that one. Shit. Son of a gun. Oh, bathroom cost me a treat on that one. That was a nice little setup there. Rob, are you copy trading with multiple prop firms? Yeah. So right now I've got funding ticks. So I purchased their funded accounts. They're instant funded. I have 2 with Tradeify, 1 with Take Profit, and Apex. So I've got a bunch of Apex PAs. The only thing on stream, the only thing that I trade is my 2 live cash accounts and my 5 funded funding ticks accounts. And I use Replicanto right now currently for all my copy trading. And I do have, I think, 5 more Apex evals that I bought during that, not this promotion, but the last one. I think it was the Black Friday one. So I'll see maybe if I can pass those with... I find those to be pretty easy to pass with an IB trade, because we're typically targeting about 15 points. So if you go max contract size on that, you could possibly pass that in one day on a pretty reliable trade. Yeah, so I've talked about the cash accounts a few times. What I typically, I have two cash accounts with Ninja Trader, so that's my brokerage, and both of them pretty much started with $5,000 in each account. And what my methodology has always been is when one of those 2 accounts, which is always running at like a $2,000 buffer, so if one's at 5, the other one's at 7. When that $7,000 account hits 10,000, I will take 5,000 out of that one, and then I will leave the 7 in the secondary account, and that becomes my main account for the next until the next pay period. And then as far as risk, I'm pretty much just risking 1 E-mini. I went to 2 E-minis, I think like the week before Thanksgiving, and I don't think it didn't hurt my psychology, but I had one day that was pretty nasty. I think we took a $5,000 loser on stream, spread out through those 7 accounts, but still pretty big loss, which we were able to make up in the next couple of days. I think I had 3,000 profit the next day, and then 1,800 on the following day, so kind of made up that loss there. But I scaled back down to just to 1 E-mini. 1 E-mini is, I think, my sweet spot. Doesn't hurt my psychology. I just feel really comfortable there. And if you've been trading with me for any period of amount of time, you know, on the NQ, my risk is typically 7 to 9. Well, let's just say 7 to 10 points. So about $160 to $200 is my risk. So on an account that's got 7,000, what am I risking? Let's see if I can do the math quick here. $3%? Does that sound right? Sounds like it would be a little less than 3%. Yeah, so it's about 2%, 2.5% is what my risk is on per trade. And the ES kind of works out to be about the same. It's typically 4 to 5 points, so 200 to 250. And I'm also working with 2 Top Step funded accounts through that Top Step X, which I've already kind of given you my thoughts on that one. Yeah, no problem. Morning, Nate. Well, not the greatest price action so far. Kind of missed this little unbalanced area that we left right there. That's a bad bathroom break. All right, 30 minutes for IB to be set. So what are we expecting for FOMC? FOMC rate statement. Let's see what the poly market is saying. So the poly markets have the Fed's cutting rates by 1/4 of a point. They've got it to 94% chance on the poly markets. Only problem is that when the markets are expecting that have that much conviction on a decision, typically price action kind of gets factored in. So I don't know, maybe it won't be as volatile as we're all expecting it to be. I think we might have better volatility on December 11th, which is Thursday. We've got OPEC monthly report. We've got U.S. trade balance, which should be a big one, I would think, and then U.S. initial jobless claims at 7:30. And kind of pre-market, but ES is not doing anything. Yeah, we're just sitting right back in this range. It's tough. ES has been tough. No, oil and gold are really not correlated. You'd have a hard time with the ES and the NQ, the YM and the Russell. Those are pretty correlated markets, but gold and oil are really not that correlated. And I traded them for years. I never had an issue. As long as you've got predefined rules for each instrument, you know, that's why if you go to my website, robstrades.com, you could see the rules are pretty much built in there. So you've got documentation on what your strategy is. That's what they're looking for. If your strategy spits out a short and the other instrument spits out a long, those are two different strategies. And you could be long on the NQ, you could take a short on gold, you could take a short on oil. Those aren't correlated markets. So I was actually just doing the math. With two E-minis, I'm risking about close to 5% per trade. Which, you know, all the conventional teachings out there say to risk no more than like 2 to 3% per trade. So maybe one E-mini is my sweet spot. But another thing I want to say is I don't really, and this might be a detriment, I guess. I don't know if I ever want to start scaling up. If I do want to scale up to the two E-minis, my best bet would be is to skip one payout or one withdrawal request and keep one account at the 10 and one at the 7. And in that scenario, that would bring down my basis on two E-minis down to like maybe 3% risk with two E-minis. But I just love when that account hits the 10 grand, you just take the 5 out. And it's a nice little, sure beats like, I remember when I was doing the mechanical strategies a couple years ago. You know, I was trading sometimes 5 micros, and if I could take home $1,500 at the end of the month, I was super excited. Super excited. But the current environment that we've been in for the last 2 weeks, is definitely not conducive for a volume-based trader. I think if you've got a really good range strategy, um, you might have a better play. But for those traders that are trading strictly volume, these type of markets become a little difficult. Morning, Key. It sure is. Yeah, don't get me wrong. 1500, it was like, especially coming from a good 2 years, man, of just, it was just constant withdrawals from my Chase account into my NinjaTrader account. It was just brutal. It was brutal. I actually took a 3-month, I stopped trading for about 3 months, and that's when I really looked into, that's how I really figured out my mechanical strategies. And I said, you know what, I've got to do something to limit the over trading, the revenge trading, which was absolutely destroying me. You know, the worst is you do great for 3 weeks taking your small base hits, and then you just have that one day that everything goes to shit, and you wiped away 3 weeks of hard work, and maybe then some. So yeah, I took almost a 90-day pause, and I think that was back in probably 2022. Good job, Key. I unfortunately don't have gold up on this chart here on my laptop set up here in Florida right now. I'd like to see a sweep down here of these lows at the 25,721. That would be nice. Two minis on ES green, 319 times 3 counts. Good job, man. Yeah, and I don't know what it is. This is probably completely psychological, but I always feel like whenever I make a move from one position size to the other, I typically just have like the worst week, that first week. And then mentally I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not ready for two E-minis. When it's not really, you know, it's not necessarily the position size. It could just be that you had a bad week, you know, with trading. But I think when it dictates when your position size starts dictating your targets, that's when I think it's time to scale down. And there's a lot of analytics that I've been working on, not this weekend, but that I want to work on with the signals, because I did a secondary month. I think I pulled February, April. I think I pulled March randomly, and I just wanted to start from the beginning and work my way all the way up. I think the average winner went for close to 30 points. So, there, if I can get some good data behind that, that would also, because I feel like the hardest thing I have is staying in trades even longer than my TP2. I haven't really figured out the best method, utilizing volume. I can see unbalanced areas below me, and that does help, but I would love to be able to figure out something with like the footprint candles that would maybe help me stay in the reversal a little longer. Yeah, you can. You can do the micros. I just noticed that with the micros, if you're trading 15 micros, you might end up paying $40 in commission, $35 in commission on the cash accounts, which I know it's a cost of business, but it's a big difference than $5 on an E-mini. I don't really know why they haven't correlated the micros and the E-minis a little better with commissions. I mean, I guess the platform, or I should say the moneymakers, are still doing the same work handling a contract. So I guess I see maybe why the cost would be the same there. But all right, 15 minutes for IB to be set. Let's see if we get a nice little sweep here. Come on, keep going down. Let's see this market drop just a little bit more. Even the ES can break through here, through these lows. Right here, it start to get maybe a little interesting in this area right here that's unbalanced. But I'd like to see them break through with some conviction here. Yeah, so I would say that my TP2 is pretty close to 1.3, 1.4. I would just say on average. Because typically my stop loss is about 8 points, and then my take profit 2 is, they usually range in like that 12 point range. So from 8 to 12, I mean, that seems like almost like a 1 to 5, maybe 1.4 just on TP2. I'm talking about extending that trade even a little further. Sweet, Morgan. Yeah, if you could drop it in Discord, I'll take a look at it. I'll be right back, guys. 12 minutes to IB. So Nordic, that's not a problem specific to you. I think that's the biggest problem that most traders face. I would put myself even included in that bracket. When I see green, you start getting pretty excited, and your mind will always go back to that one trade that took TP1, came a few points from TP2, and then reversed back and stopped you out. But eventually you gotta trust the data. You gotta trust the setup, the process. And I know that's tough. I say it and it's still very, very tough. So yep. Absolutely. So that was the beauty of the mechanical strategies that I had, was that my rules were so predefined that I never, ever took out trades. There would be many times where we would go a tick to take profit, and then it would reverse back, especially a year and a half ago when oil, even gold has been killing it though. But oil, it would reverse on me and then it would knock me out, but it was just part of the rule. And I knew 3 years of data set on the mechanical strategies, I knew you'd have to take the losses with the wins, and holding out for the winners in the long run ended up paying off, just because if we're mentally prepared to risk $200, and we're perfectly fine looking at that chart going all the way down to $200, thinking that we'll get a snap back up, we'll get some liquidity that pops in and takes us back to our TP, because we've seen it happen a few times in the past. But if you're not willing to hold your winner, then why are you willing to hold your loser? And again, I say that, I'm talking out loud, but it's still something that I know I struggle with. Specifically now on the discretionary kind of levels-based trading, the volume-based trading that I do. The only mechanical side that I have is just finding unbalanced volume for my targets, which seem to, as you can tell by my win rate on TP1 and TP2, it's generally really good. I think the only time that I will start targeting TP1 religiously is, when I see that TP2 has already kind of been balanced out. We've been kind of hanging around TP2 for a while. And then the order book, volume will help you. That's kind of my trade last night on the NQ. I got out at the 92.50. I still remember that number because I kept looking at the order book, and the 92.50s were stacked pretty well, and it was unbalanced, so I knew that was a reliable target, and it put me in between TP1 and TP2. I think I was risking 8 points on that trade last night, and I made, I want to say 8.5 to 9 points. So pretty close to 1-to-1. But again, it was like 11:45 at night, so it wasn't like ideal trading times for me. Alright, 7 minutes to IB. And what I'm going to do is I am going to switch over to my Apex accounts, the ones that I have to try to pass. And let's see if I can get those funded today. So I'm going to disconnect funding ticks, so that's gone. I don't know if I have to. I guess I could leave my cash account. That's gone. And then now go to Apex. Let's see how that. So my Apex, I pretty much took between 175 to 193 on all my PAs last night on that trade. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got six evals that I'm gonna try to pass here. I'll just try to do that with the IB trade. So let me just get that set up on my trade copier. So my leader will be 65. Take off the PAs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Exact quantity on the NQ. Alright, we're good there. So it's 65 is my account that I need to put in here. 65. And then let's move to this. Edit. 10. Okay, I think that should be right. Let's go to the NQ. Oh, strong push here now. Alright, now we got an unbalanced area here. Oh, I forgot. And we've got a setup coming up at the 25,602.25, targeting the 25,608 and the 25,611, with a stop loss at the 25,596. Forgot about that one. Now let's go to the 1 minute. And let's put the IB range indicator on. Doesn't look the best up here. I did find an unbalanced area right here, but it's just not. I don't like the sweeps right here. It just makes TP1 very, very small. So the ES, I still would like to see it drop just a little bit more. It's just not clean, man. It's not clean. We go to the 1 minute. It's just not, nothing's really impulsive at all that doesn't get rebalanced right away. All right, 1 minute for IB. Right back at me in 1 second. So the only issue I have with the Apex evals is that I only have about 10 points to stop. I think if I target about 15 points, we should be good there. 16 points. I should do the math, so I'm not off by a couple dollars. So right now, my cash accounts are off, my traded funded accounts are off. It's just these Apex evals that I'm looking at. So 10 times 20, that's 200 obviously. So I need 15 points, so 16 I think would be good. Let's just see what our ATM is set at. Yeah. Is that right? 66. Divided by 4. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, sorry, I posted that setup on the NQE right before I went to the washroom. I completely forgot about it. I think it's posted in the Signal service. I'll take a look at order book when we get down there. Maybe an extra point or two on the stop would fit a little nicer on the volume profile, but we'll see. Should be good. So I've been on a keto kick for the last like 2 months. I dropped about 20 something pounds, like 22 pounds. But pretty much my breakfast always stays the same: coffee and scrambled eggs. Now it's scrambled eggs with vegetables. But I cut out sugar, which is tough for me because I used to love sugar with my coffee, but I've gotten over that. I've given up sugar and pretty much carbs for about 6 weeks now. Yeah, chum sauce. On the yeah, you can. So now that they have that new bracket feature with the OCO brackets, if you enable the OCO brackets, you can create a new ATM for the next setup that you want. So just then make sure you enable in your settings the OCO orders, and then for each setup you can kind of set up your ATM for that. It's not the greatest system in the world, but that once I noticed that, it did make things a little bit easier. So I've been my wife bought some, man, I don't even want to say the name of it because I know I'm going to butcher it. I want to say dragon fruit sugar, but I know that's wrong. I know that's not right. But it was it's a natural plant derived like sweetener. But I've just kind of stayed away from everything, just to my sugar levels were not good. And my last did an annual checkup with the doctor, and he's like, you gotta change some things. So Monk fruit. That's it. Man, perfect. Yeah, that's exactly it. Monk fruit. What did I say? Dragon fruit? I guess I was close. But yeah, that was monk fruit. And I've tried it. It's, I mean, you really can't taste the difference. Like, I even noticed it when I came down to Florida. I had a few golf shirts that have been sitting in my drawer for like 2 years because I really didn't fit into them anymore. And tried them on this weekend, and it was actually a good amount of room. They were comfy. So I know I'm doing something right. I feel great. My sleep's getting better. I think I told you guys in the beginning of this of when I started streaming, I was averaging about 3.5 hours of sleep a night, and just from switching over to the cutting out my carbs and my sugar, I've bumped that up. Now my average sleep night is 6.5 hours, which I'm more happy about that than I am about losing some weight. He did say to cut off the caffeine, which for me, as you guys know, drinking coffee, that's kind of like my boost in the morning. So I having a hard time with that one. I used to drink a lot of Diet Coke. I haven't had Diet Coke in 6 weeks. Which, if anybody here drinks Diet Coke religiously like how I used to, that is an addiction. That was really hard. But I just did it all at one time. I took out carbs, sugar, Diet Coke. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but... well, those are big. Because, as you guys know, I love pizza. And there's not many great alternatives to that. So I walk. I used to lift weights a couple years back, maybe 4 or 5 years back. Actually, right before COVID, when they shut down the gyms, and I was going to my Park District gym with a buddy of mine. We were there for like 5 years. So I'm like kind of built like an ox. I mean, my muscles are all still there. So I think for me, more it's the walking. The walking helps. It clears my mind, takes the stress levels off. It gets a little more difficult now in the wintertime in Chicago. But my wife's been advocating for there's an indoor track at our Park District that's free just to go and walk laps. I don't know, I just find that kind of boring when you're not looking at scenery. And I don't run. I don't like running at all. I feel like every runner I see when I go into the forest preserve, when I see people running, nobody looks happy. Walkers always look happy. They always look like they're enjoying themselves, but for me, the runners always seem like they're just not happy faces on them. Yeah, I've been watching some YouTube videos. We made a keto crust about a week ago with eggs and cottage cheese, which I don't like cottage cheese at all, but you couldn't taste it when you, I guess, blend it. I guess cottage cheese has like 1,000 different uses that I never knew you had. So we made the crust out of that. There was something else in there that we used. And it was good, but it just kind of tasted like egg. So it's kind of like having like a breakfast pizza for dinner. And I like cauliflower. I could do cauliflower. But I have heard the Fathead makes a dough that you can use. I just want to get healthy. It's the name of the game. I mean, making money and trading and doing work every day is fun, but it's also very stressful. So if you can keep your body strong, I think it always will help out in the long run. All right, so again, right now I've got cash accounts and my funded accounts. They're taken off right now. So right now I'm trading with strictly Apex evals. So I'm targeting this IB low here. And then if we get the IB trade, then what I'd like to do is then switch over to the cash and then see if I could take the setup at the 25,602. At least that's the game plan. This is true, Milan, this is true. Pizza with chèvre. Can't pronounce that. Chèvre? Chèvre cheese? I never even heard of that. Let's see what that's all about. Probably butchered the pronunciation of that. French for goat. Oh, so it's got goat milk in there. Not a huge fan of goat milk, but then again, when it's is that the topping? I don't know, malted it might be better. I'm not a big fan of like goat milk or what's the other, like blue cheese crumbles and stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan. Sometimes if it gets me by surprise, I'll be like, okay, it wasn't that bad, but my first choice is always mozzarella or cheddar or a blend. Topping, okay, yeah, French cheese. Ground chicken pizza. Ooh, I would like that. I made some banana oat like muffins that were absolutely fantastic. So I got some organic oats that were gluten-free and mixed those with like eggs, smashed the bananas, got that like super fine. We used some milk, but not, I forgot what kind of milk we ended up using. I don't know if it was oat milk or what the hell we used. And then for a topping, for a sweetener, we did another banana mashed up and like a tablespoon of unsweetened cocoa powder, cocoa powder, and mixed that up in I forgot what kind of blender it was. It was like a wand blender, and those came out phenomenal. And they're super like they really kill the hunger, because those oats are like super like heavy. So it really felt like I was like the first legit meal that I had that had some kind of consistency to it. So I eat a lot of chicken, a lot of fish. Like last night we went to that restaurant that I was telling you guys about like 3 weeks ago. It's called Little Havana. It's a Cuban restaurant, pretty close to where we live here. And I got their not their fried snapper. I got their grilled snapper last night, which was fantastic. And so I've been eating a lot of fish, a lot of chicken. I love red meats, but I've been kind of staying away from red meats a little bit too. My doctor said that my iron levels are really high. So he's like, I know you love the red meat, and I know if you're going to do keto, most people like that keto carnivore diet. People love the, overloading on the meats. But he's like, if you can kind of limit that, we'll do another blood test in about a month and a half and see if you respond well to that. So I haven't been eating a lot of red meat either. And I'd love myself some red meat. I never had deer meat. I heard it's fantastic too. Oh, 3 miles a day, that's impressive, man. So I think the biggest reason why I don't run, besides the stupid thought that I have in my head that I feel like all the runners are not very happy, at least when I'm looking at them run, is that my shins. I have like those like shin splints that I guess you'd call them, and I know it's all about stretching and stuff like that, but when those come, man, they kill. I feel like I have the endurance to run for a good amount of time. It's just my shins that start burning. They don't even hurt, they just like burn. Ooh, that sounds good. Smoked deer is great. Alright, well that might be something to do an adventure on. This might be a dumb question, but is deer meat like readily available at like the grocery stores? That might sound stupid, but I don't think I've ever shopped for deer meat, so I'm not sure. Well, that's another funny story, Nordic, on the cycling. I hope my wife's not watching this stream. She probably is. But during COVID, we ended up buying that Peloton bike, which I used for a total of 1 time. And I will say, just in case my wife is watching, she's probably used it more than that. But it has become a perfect clothes hanger. I mean, the bike is made to hang clothes off of it. I think it's absolutely perfect for a clothes rack, and that's pretty much what it's become. And I should bicycle, because I think that's a great cardio. It's low impact on my knees and shins, which I don't have any problems with my knees. I don't actually have any problems physically, but I don't like running because of the shin splints. But yeah, I should cycle. It's funny because now I stare at the Peloton every morning when I trade downstairs in the studio, because it's sitting right there. It's not a clothes hanger it's not a clothes rack anymore, but now it's got boxes and random shit all over it. All right, let's see what we can get here. Give me 1 sec. Go. My Amazon delivery just heard somebody knocking. And I know the kids are still sleeping. Kind of close to this, getting kind of close to this NQ here. So for those of you who might be watching for the first time, I trade on the IB low and high. Well, I got two that you can pretty much use. You've got just a 15-point take profit, 15-point stop loss right off of your IB low. That generally has a pretty decent win rate. What I'm looking for, though, is I'm looking for our footprint, which is all the way up here. I'm looking for it on the right-hand side of my screen, but I got a different monitor layout down here. I'm looking for, like in this scenario, when we tap into the IB low or cross it, I'm looking for a green footprint candle with negative delta. And then I target 15 points to take profit from that move. And again, today I'm taking this, although if setup happens here, I'm taking this on the Apex evals. And finished a 325K race before summer. That's awesome. Sell it. Yeah, I actually never thought about that. I don't know how much you think we can get for a Peloton bike that's probably been used 4 times. I know we paid top dollar for it during COVID. I don't even know what the price is going for right now. Probably gonna get flack from my wife for bringing it up. But you know I love you. Now my wife does more. She does exercise enough for the both of us, if it worked that way. Honestly, I think it was over, I don't know. I want to say it was around $2,000. Could have been more, could have been a little less, but I know it was somewhere up there. All right, let's see what we get here. Another tip that my doctor gave me for sleeping was he said have a cup of decaffeinated tea about an hour before you know you're going to go to sleep. And I've been doing that for about 2 weeks. So I don't know if it's a combination of just the diet or the tea, but that's been, I think, helping me out. All right, pretty close to IB here. We should have some, obviously, natural stops sitting right there as well. $19.80. All right, Alright, no confirmation yet. Didn't get a good footprint there. 0 delta right there. Don't think we're going to get a confirmation there. Negative delta. Alright. Did get a confirmation there, so we'll see if we can... Again, I'm on the Apex evals here, so we'll see what we can do here. Oh, that came right to the tick. A couple more points. There we go. Nice. Let's go see 3,001. Oh man, I took way more than I needed. They're all at 3,185. All right, so six more PA accounts there. Nice. Good job, Steve. Good job, Morgan. Michael, good job. You guys saw the footprint confirmation, right? I think it was right here from that. Oh, why does it do that? I don't know why it does that. I think it was right here. Yeah. Green footprint, negative. I mean, it was only -4 delta, so it wasn't huge. But it's pretty much right, able to get in right at that end of that footprint confirmation right there. Oh no, that's my target. What am I talking about? Dummy. This was it. This was the confirmation. So green footprint, -32 delta. And I think my entry was, I guess, spread out through here. So maybe about a point or two above this footprint candle. Nice. And no, I'm not going to say I made $20,000 today. Yes, I did. I passed them all with that trade. So that's what I've been having. I've been having chamomile. It's exactly what he told me to drink. Let me go grab this package from the outside. I think Amazon delivered it. Give me 1 second. Let's get back to this. Now I got to take all these off. Alright, so now what do we do? I gotta go here. And then make this my leader. Take these all off. Alright, I'm gonna make sure that I got this the copy trader set right. Main account. Okay, these are all set. Just make sure this one's set right. So what do we got as a stop there? It's kind of tight for 8 points. Okay, that should be good. All right, what else? Just make sure one more time that my copy trader set right. Don't want to make a stupid mistake here. Yes, yes, okay. You know what? Let me just make sure that the quantity is 1. Okay. All right, I think we're all ready to go. Yeah, Milan, the IB is just the first hour from market open. So for me, it's 8:30 a.m. Central Time to 9:30 a.m. Central Time. That's your IB. So the IB range today was 25,657 all the way up to 25,860.75. And again, the easiest again would be if you don't have footprints, 15 point take profit, 15 point stop loss, which I think here would be more than safe on this trade. Yeah, that was 7.5 points of drawdown on that one. Granted, I didn't get any. I got barely any drawdown. I was on that footprint confirmation. It just went straight to TP. So I don't think I was in really any drawdown on that trade with the footprint confirmation. Key, as far as the big orders indicator, I know I have put it on my chart. I just couldn't make any sense of it. And that was way back. So I haven't looked at it recently. The only thing that I have done is was kind of recreate Bookmap in NinjaTrader but I don't think it was using any of the big trade indicator. Why did you take the last trade long? So Tony, I think I just explained that one. So that's my IB trade that I look for. First hour of from the market open to the market close. From the market open to 1 hour. So for me, it's 8:30 to 9:30 Central Time. If it's Eastern Time, it'd be 9:30 to 10:30. What I would do is I will look for once price action taps into the IB low or crosses it, I'm looking for a footprint confirmation. So in my scenario, exactly what I'm looking for is this. So this was where I entered the trade right here. And this was the IB low right here, this white line. So once I got a green footprint candle with negative delta, that was my trigger to get into that trade. And I'm pretty much targeting 15 points of take profit and 15 points of stop loss on that footprint confirmation. Now, again, if you don't have footprints, you could just do a resting limit order on the IB low. Seems to have a really good win rate. I know last week, I think IB went 2 times for 15.75 points. So you would have been tapped out by less than a point. And then it reverses, and you can get some pretty big moves. I mean, I don't know what this one is here. Let's see what this. But 15 points seems to be a really good sweet spot in all of the testing I've done. 27 points that would have got in total. So hopefully, Tony, that answered your question. When you get into the level, you don't take another trade there. Not sure what you mean by that. So if I have a setup, like let's say this 25,602, and I get stopped out, I would need to see something extremely convincing for me to re-enter, which is typically if they left my TPs unbalanced, I will then become interested, maybe for a second re-entry. But typically once that play has been done, I'm over it. It was a fun morning. Fun morning of trading here in Florida. I think the last time I was here for 2 days was very profitable as well. I don't like this P&L on my screen though. That is not what I made today. I would say 19,000 of that's all that past evals. I don't like fake advertising. Just take one more look at the ES here at this. Just not. It's complete shit on the way down. Complete garbage on the way down. It's just forcing something. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it for the day. Nothing on the ES. The NQ is, I think we did already pretty good for the day for myself. I'm going to leave this resting limit order here. Feel pretty good about this 25,602. And we'll see if anything comes up. I'm jumping on, I'm leaving here at about 1 o'clock. We got a flight to catch at 3 o'clock. So I'll be back in Chicago tomorrow, right at the market open. If you haven't, please hit the like button on the stream, guys. Hopefully you guys are getting value off these streams. And of the setups. And I will see you guys tomorrow in cold Chicago. Take care, everybody. Be patient and hopefully stay in the green. All right, take care.